Dope Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, move up to the heavyweights, and it's all about Anthony Joshua versus Jarrell Miller, the fight that's off, and who's going to replace Jarrell Miller. That's probably the biggest story in the heavyweight division right now. And, the names have changed, a little bit. What we had at the beginning a few days ago when we did a video, Ortiz's name was first. Told you. I thought Parker should have been the second choice. After that, who was it? Michael Hunter was in there. Joe Joyce was in there. And one other dude that I'm forgetting that was, third or whatever. But the names are changing. Right now, we got Andy Ruiz Jr., who is the front runner. What you're hearing in the latest news, Andy Ruiz Jr. just coming off the win of Demetrenko, which basically is Andy Ruiz Jr.'s best win, is the Demetrenko win, because his claim to fame would be the fight against Joseph Parker in New Zealand, where he barely lost, a majority decision loss. A lot of fighters have those close fights where they lose. And, they can go around and say, well, I really won that fight. Well, he can say that, too. It fits in that bill. He can say he won that fight. People really know he won that fight, but you didn't, right? I had Joseph Parker winning it, but close. And, he was at home. So, but that's his claim to fame. Those are the best wins on his resume. He's got a couple of other people, but those are the best wins on his resume. And Andy Ruiz Jr. is just not that active, right? But that's the main guy right now. Michael Hunter's name is still in the mix. Michael Hunter's name. Now, you got some names that we don't want. Like Manuel Char, don't want him, right? Who else is there? Trevor Bryan, not really, right? Have a more high-profile fight, Trevor Bryan and Agit Kabayab. No, we don't want that for Joshua right now. Now, let's make sure this is clear when Anthony Joshua defends. Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. He got 3 titles for a reason. It's not a joke. So when you're talking about Anthony Joshua, you're talking, hey, is most fighters that you suggest are going to be overmatched, right? If their name is not Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, Miller was one of them, and maybe Dillian White, and to a lesser extent for me, Joseph Parker on a neutral area. I think that would be good. Other than that, all the other names we're not going to be satisfied with. That's how good Anthony Joshua is. He has to fight someone that we think, and let's be real, it should be Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz. Everyone else, you can't get Tyson Fury, you can't get Deontay Wilder right now. It should be Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, because we all know, some admit and some don't, but we all know Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz is by far, and I'm going to keep saying it, the best opponent. Louis or Real King Kong Ortiz has until Tuesday to answer. This is what we're hearing. I'm not hearing enough from Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz's team. I think they should be out there big time. But you guys know I don't do social media. That's way too much information. I ain't following nobody like that. Right? Don't want nobody following me like that. I'm from the none of your damn business generation. And all that's way too much information. People running around running into stuff because they keep looking into my phones. I ain't got time for all of that. But you guys know something about Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz's team saying something, which they should be. They should be real loud right now. Told you that's the only thing I don't like about the Cuban fighters. Sometimes, because they won't learn English, right? They have to be more active. You hear Anthony Joshua right now saying, you got to Tuesday to talk, and like you ain't been saying nothing, whatever. You're supposed to be out here, like I always said, I'm ready, right? But that hasn't came. Let's see what happens from Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz's team, because we don't like the other names. Listen, even Alexander Usyk and Michael Hunter, who are coming up from cruiserweight, who are also awesome fighters, we think they're overmatched against Anthony Joshua. Yes, they can beat some guys, but do we think they can beat Anthony Joshua? I don't know. And Anthony Joshua needs to be in a fight where we think there should be some suspense. So let's see what happens going forward. With that, I am not happy with Andy Ruiz Jr. either, right? I'm hoping still that it's Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz. I would like to see the outrage that they're forced to fight Ortiz, or hear Ortiz's team say we don't want it because it's too short. So then we can get on them, which we would do. Right? If we find out for real that Ortiz's team doesn't want it in 6 weeks notice, then we're going to get on them, because you ain't going to get a better opportunity, not even Ortiz. Much as everybody running from Ortiz, if Ortiz's team has found out that we didn't have this fight and they ain't doing it, then that's probably it for him, because you ain't going to get no more opportunities, right? But I don't believe that. And I'm not believing that, because up until now, Ortiz has acted perfectly. So let's see what happens with that situation. Now, another thing Anthony Joshua says, and I agree with him, is Jarrell Miller doesn't belong in the ring with him after those transgressions, and accusing him the whole time. Just because Anthony Joshua's chiseled, everybody want to act like, you can't get that way if you, work hard. Well, who knows? But let me tell you one thing, he ain't been caught. And until then, we can't say nothing. That's how people always try to get jealous of dudes that's handling their business and look good. And he's working to get that way, right? It's always genetics. Oh, it's in your blood, especially brothers. Brothers, we can't, everything we do, but haters always say, it's in your blood. Yeah, he can sing, it's in your blood. Oh, he can jump, it's in your blood. Oh, he can dance, it's in your blood. Oh, he has a good heart, it's in their blood. Oh, he's a good orator. Oh, it's in your blood. Everything's in your blood. No, damn it, you work for it too. You're an earthling. And sometimes you work for everything ain't good that happens to you ain't in your blood. That's the excuse for people that can't do it. Don't even don't listen to you in your blood stuff. Anthony Joshua, regardless, is working until he gets caught doping. He ain't doping, right? So the dude, he's like, Anthony Joshua told him, what goes around comes around, homie. You was accusing me the whole time. No, boom. Now look what happened to you. You had everything in your blood, everything, right? And I told you guys before, Deontay Wilder done told you them dudes that's doping. You can see how they act. Just check it out. So yes, he doesn't deserve to be in the ring at all when Anthony Joshua has told him. Now, Anthony Joshua detractors would say, well, neither did Alexander Povetkin, right? That's what they gonna say. People like me, right? Neither did Alexander Povetkin, to be fair, because he didn't either. He was doped twice with 2 different substances, and when winning fights on meldonium had the nerve to be legal in Russia. We didn't like that. He's knocking people out late like Takam. Takam still has a loss. Right? Gonna get when he's doped against Bermane Stiverne. Imagine this. When he's doped against Bermane Stiverne, then he's gotta do that. I holler back at you, homie. When he gets with Bermane Stiverne, right, what's gonna happen to him is this, right? Stiverne's at the weigh-in. The weigh-in. Alexander Povetkin gets popped at the weigh-in. They were able to bring Duhaupas in within 24 hours. Okay, imagine that. Within 24 hours to fight, he beats Duhaupas full on drugs, and that's still on his record that he beat Duhaupas. Still on Duhaupas' record. Those are the things that got to be changed. You were doped, then your record gets every fight that you won doped is erased. No contest. It's good for not for only trying to penalize the guy who was doped, but the guys who got beat by a doped guy. Do we think about them? A little thing, food for thought right there. So Anthony Joshua is right about Jarrell Miller. But I think Povetkin, he should have been the same way about Povetkin, especially because the Deontay Wilder negotiations were really, really hot at the time. And remember the September date that wasn't open for Wembley Stadium when it was regarding Deontay Wilder. It's not open. We can't get Wembley then. But then they fought on the exact same day against dope Povetkin, and the WBA comes in and make it like Povetkin has to be a mandatory. All that was fishy, right? Shouldn't have fought him neither. But the problem is this. Back on Anthony Joshua to, his defense, is if y'all gonna fight fighters that ain't been doped before, right, now I'm gonna be looking far, because there ain't too many. Like we talked about the other day, most of the heavyweights have had something to do with doping. So you can't find none, right? Can't find none. So we'll talk about dope fighters again in a little bit, but it's at the end of the day, most of them have had something to do with dope. And the fighters who are fighting fighters. This is another thing. Fighters who are fighting fighters, when they know that they're doped, that's courageous. And there's a lot of them. There's a few names I would mention, but I know the haters would start coming and talking about. But let's be real. There's a few heavyweights that we know are lighter than people and are not doped and I want to fight them anyway after finding out that they're doped. That's crazy and courageous. And like I said before in other videos, we should get behind them, not just some of them. That's how you can differentiate. Forget where they come from, how they look, what color they are, all that. Let's go with doped and non-doped. And then you only have 2 or 3 guys you're going to like anyway. So let's just think about that, right? Let's think about that. Now, Anthony Joshua, good luck on finding an opponent that we would like to see. Because, Anthony Joshua still must see TV, but not if he's fighting against me. Dome Sports Talk. Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.